Today, we're talking about some crazy next-gen console leaks for both Xbox and PlayStation. Find out which one could change gaming forever. Plus, we've got a review roundup for Mafia: The Old Country. But could a new controversy derail its launch? And Silent Hill F's combat is shaking the series up in a big way. How are fans reacting? Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my consistent company of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Molding.
Hey now, Baba Booey.
And this week we've got a special guest, Chad Conselmo.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome, Chad. It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too much into what I do. I talked about that last time, but yeah, I do work at Square Enix. I'm working on a new game that I'm leading called Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. It comes out August 30th, so please buy it.
Yeah.
Prayer hand emoji.
Yeah.
And hopefully, are we going to get a chance to review?
Oh, he's the one reviewing the Dragon Quest game, so you better butter him up.
Oh, trust me, I've been buttering them up as much as I can.
Right on. Well, we're excited to have you with us. It'll be a fun show. Before we hit the headlines, though, one quick note. We are 227 subs away from our goal of 1,000, so if you could hit the like and subscribe button, we definitely appreciate it. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump into the headlines of the week. This week, we've had a lot of next-gen console rumors leak. I've essentially mixed two articles, one from Tech Radar and the other from Tom's Guide to get all leaks into one. So let's recap them for you, gentlemen, and then we'll jump in. First up, word is the next Xbox could actually outgun the PS6 in raw graphics power. The PS6 is rumored to be packing something close to AMD's Radeon RX 9070 XT, while Xbox might be aiming at NVIDIA's RTX 5080 territory. Translation? PS6 would be twice as powerful as the current PS5, but still affordable. No word on the Xbox price, but with the current specs rumored, it could hit higher frame rates, better ray tracing, and an edge in 4K visuals, if these leaks are correct. Now, this isn't a huge surprise because in the last two generations, Xbox has tried to outpower Sony, and not that it's really made too much of a difference in sales, but it sounds like Xbox is up to their old tricks. Now, here's the twist. Xbox might be going full PC mode with a modular design. The idea is the console can be upgraded over time. It's powered by a Zen 6 CPU and RDNA 5 graphics capable of native 4K and 120 frames per second. But the way it's designed means that it could evolve over time by replacing different segments more like a PC design. And if true, the next round of the console wars could look very different than it does today. So, gentlemen, what do you think of these new leaks and rumors? Any truth to them? Any excitement? Let's start with Conselmo first.
Oh, I get to go first? What an honor. Listen, the go-to PR term for anything here is we do not comment on rumors or speculation. But I don't know. I feel like this all does sound kind of legit to me, especially the Microsoft thing. I don't know how many more consoles Microsoft's going to make. And I do feel like if they're going to make one, they're going to do something interesting like this. The PC market's huge. It's bigger than ever right now. So to make a console that's similar to PC actually does make perfect sense to me. So even though this is obviously a rumor, it sounds very far out. And I don't ever understand where people get this information from. I still feel like this actually could be pretty legit. That doesn't sound too far off to me.
Chad took some words right out of my mouth. It's going to be the last Xbox. There is no doubt in my mind that's the last one. They're going to go out with a bang. They're going to go out like a PC, and then they'll just become a developer for PlayStation and probably Nintendo, and that's the end of Xbox as a product. So yeah, go out with a bang. That's what I say.
Lord, what's your take?
Wasn't the Series X supposed to be more powerful than the PS5 anyway? What happened to all the teraflops, bro? Like, I thought we had 12 of those flopping around, and we're not even, I don't know. But
then the PlayStation did the Pro, so now the PlayStation's in the lead.
Right, they keep flip-flopping.
Yeah.
And you nailed it, Chad. You're talking how popular the PC market is. So true. I would love to see an Xbox that's modular. I would buy one instantly. That sounds so up my alley. Let me tinker with it. Let me get maybe like certain, third party little components that, like off the market type of situation. I just love that idea. I think that'd be so cool, and it'd be a smart play by Xbox. And I think it would tap into that PC tinkering, loving market. So hopefully that's where the route they take. I would love it.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what really happens, because if we really are expecting consoles to launch in late 2027, early 2028, this is the time that the manufacturers start to kind of lock in those specs and ideas, and doing something as revolutionary and different for Microsoft does make sense. They need something crazy. They need to knock it out of the park. They need something to differentiate them. So that's one thing. And the second thing that what kind of makes it make sense to me is that if Microsoft can successfully make a console that's more PC, then they don't have to make a PC version of the game and a console version of the game. Suddenly their buy anywhere really is just one game that happens to work on their Xbox PC or a regular PC. Financially, it makes a lot of sense for them. And when you guys say that this could be the last Xbox console, that could be true, if only because it's modular and it would consistently be upgraded piece by piece over time and not completely go extinct.
How much would this cost? Like, how many pieces are you gonna have to buy? How many upgrades are you gonna have to do? Like, how often are you gonna have to upgrade? This just sounds like they're trying to, console makers are always trying to get the, families to buy these consoles, or young gamers and stuff. But it's just like the bar is just getting higher and higher cost wise for people to jump into these new consoles. So that just, I don't know. As someone who actually likes this idea, that sounds very expensive.
Chad, would feel free to say no comment, but at your position at Square Enix, would you know if dev kits went out to developers and to publishers and stuff?
Yeah, we're
would you
pretty
know that?
knowledgeable about dev kits and when they go out and who's getting them and how early they're getting them. So yeah, that kind of information we do know.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't be able to say it even if you did know.
No.
Yeah.
That's when all of a sudden my computer malfunctions and I just disappear forever.
You're like, oh, where'd he go?
Not just off this call. You never hear from me again.
He's gone. Gitmo style.
I think the point about the price is a really important one, because that is something that we know gamers are, especially console gamers, are price sensitive. But at the same time, the main thing about being a console gamer, and the really good part about it, is that you put the disc in the console or you download digitally or whatever, and it just works. I mean, that's the promise, right? That a PS5 game works on a PS5, a PS6 game should work on a PS6. And I think that Xbox might run into a little bit of a problem here if you suddenly put a game in and it needs some sort of upgrade that you weren't aware with. And so communicating with your audience could make this thing a little bit more difficult than they thought. I'll never forget when Donkey Kong 64 came out and we all had to upgrade the RAM in the 64 just to play that one game. I mean, that seemed like a pain in the ass. Yes, the game was fun. Don't freak out on me, Chad. But really, I had to upgrade the RAM for that one game because I never knew another game that used it or anything like that. And I felt a little bit taken advantage of, and I'm worried that Microsoft is going to do the same thing if they go with this modular design.
Yeah, they're thinking cha-ching, though. That's like easy money if they're gonna like sell something like that. I don't, in my mind, I have it being like very modular though too. Like it could be really easy, so you just kind of like slide it out, like how everyone who saw
plug
Superman,
and play sort of stuff.
Yeah, how they're like taking out those like hard drives and like placing them.
Yeah,
I think that would be awesome. Like, give me something like that. Super easy.
I think you give them too much credit.
It's
going to be like, you have to put this tab A to slot B, and it's going to be nuts.
Look at what they're doing now with Seagate. Seagate has a proprietary technology on their hard drive, and we're paying through the nose for an SSD upgrade. And my fear is that the same situation will happen here with this thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think you
something
nailed
like
it.
That could be sweet though. Like I love the little Seagate look, but yeah, you're right. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for more leaks and rumors. And as we run up to the new consoles, we'll definitely be covering them here. And now let's switch focus real quickly to the latest game release. But before we do that, actually, let's talk about Instant Riot, our sponsor. Molly?
Yep, this week's episode, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is the clothing brand for gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. And they just so happen to be the official partner of Good Playing With You merch, like two of our boys are wearing right now.
I love my merch. I wear it all the time. I tell everyone about the podcast. I got to tell 227 people specifically about the podcast.
You need to get moving.
But I do love this shirt. It's great. Very good quality. So I highly recommend Instant Riot gear.
That's awesome to hear. So go to instantriot.com and enter code FIRSTRIOT for 10% off your first order. And a big thank you to our friends over there.
Yes. Definitely. All right, now let's talk Mafia. I'm a huge fan. I loved 1, 2, and well, kind of 3, but they are amazing games. But what's going on, Malding? Like the latest one just came out. Is
Yeah.
it worth my time? Is it worth my money?
Yeah, so let's see. I wanted to give a quick review rundown for Mafia, the old country, after its release this week. And as of yesterday, it's sitting at a 76 on Metacritic, so not terrible. It's a solid C. Destructoid, Chad's old stomping grounds, gave it an 80, saying Mafia, the old country, plays like a memorable mob movie set in the early 1900s, making for one of the better single-player experiences in 2025 so far. Game Informer gave it a 60, writing, though it's a beautiful game with an excellent Sicilian dub to boot, Mafia the Old Country unfortunately leaves a lot on the Don's table, failing to rise to the promise of its premise. Ooh, that was great. And GameSpot agreed also with a 60, saying generic gameplay and dated mission design hold Mafia the Old Country back, making it feel like a relic of the early 2010s. But before I go into our official story about the length of the game, anything you boys want to add about those numbers?
Those weren't the most stellar.
Yeah, that's a
No.
little harsh, especially
Yeah.
because I thought the storytelling, especially in the remastered version, was phenomenal. It was just so good, and it made me overlook all of the flaws. And unfortunately, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like this one is doing the same. I was expecting to hear people talk about how great the story was, and if that's not what they're leading with, I'm nervous because that's all it got.
Yeah. I've never played any of them, so I have no idea what's happening with Mafia the Old Country. So no comment.
Yeah, I surprisingly have not played any of them either, even though I've been interested in them. This actually one got me the most interested because of the way it looked, and I love the concept, which I'm sure you're going to go into in a second, Malding, of it being like a shorter game. I actually thought that was great. So I'm interested in it despite the reviews. I think I'm still going to check it out. But it looks
And
like
you're
the other
Italian.
games. Yeah,
I know.
yes, and I am
Totally.
Italian. That's true. These are my people. I need to support them. Your costume is not my culture. But yeah, I'm stoked, and it looks like the other games got around mid 70s too. So if you like the other games, I guess this is probably similar. So I've heard people love the Mafia games, the earlier ones. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm still gonna play it. I'm stoked for it.
And then, Lord,
Lord,
any
do you have
thoughts?
Oh. Yeah,
Lord was stunned.
I was stunned. I was thinking, yeah, all right.
Right.
Well, sometimes when you hear that like throwback to old games, it's just like I can't tell if that's ever like a critique. Because sometimes like I love throwing in old games, and sometimes like that's not a bad thing. Like that's fine. If they're trying to tap into a game from a previous era, like that's fine by me.
Yeah,
I agree.
makes sense.
Yeah, I think the formula, the 1 and 2 are the ones that are really story based and limited. It seems like an open world, but they never let you off the leash, so it's a little frustrating. I can understand why that would bug modern day gamers, but I loved it because of the story. 3, they just kind of let you roam wherever you want, but then the story just wasn't quite as good as all the others because you were so free roam. So I really want to check this one out because it's up my alley. I understand like the way the storytelling is. It looks super gorgeous. I like the combat. I love the style. But then, Molding, I saw your second story.
Yeah, so let's see what we have to say about this. This is from Brent Cope at Vice. I pulled this one from. Players boycott Mafia the Old Country after discovering it's only 10 hours long. According to a new report, you might be able to beat Mafia the Old Country in 10.5 hours. In a recent interview, Hangar 13 confirmed that the game's length is similar to the remake of the series' first title, and according to How Long to Beat, Mafia Definitive Edition takes 10 hours to complete its story and 13 hours with side quests. This isn't the first time Mafia the Old Country's short playtime has been up for debate. Back in May, 2K president David Ismailer commented, quote, "We think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments. We're excited to offer a game like Mafia the Old Country in our portfolio to provide a linear, highly polished narrative experience that can easily complement the other more persistent games our players also love and engage with on a more consistent basis." So it appears that Hangar 13 has been preparing us for a shorter Mafia game in the lead up to the project's marketing. The 10-hour playtime for Mafia the Old Country isn't that surprising, given that the title is only $50 at launch. The game's developer also has continually emphasized that it's a, quote, linear narrative experience. Following claims that Mafia the Old Country takes around 10.5 hours to beat, players took to social media to voice their frustrations. Many argued that even at the $50 price tag, the game was too short to justify picking up. Others stated that they wouldn't be buying it or would wait for it to go on sale. So, boys, what do you think? For $50, do you think that 10.5 hours is worth it? Or are you willing to pay any amount for a game that you consider quality no matter how long it takes to finish?
Can I go first on this one, because I think I'm going to be the only one that says something different, and I need to get it out of the way so I don't look like a fool later. I have no problem with this. I am pro short games. I don't think games should be determined by price ever. I never understood this argument. I think it's all about the game's quality and what the experience is. And if you're giving someone the full experience that they feel like they need, not too long, not too short, for whatever cost you want to give it to them, great. I don't understand this new attitude of, if I pay $60, my game needs to be 100 hours. But if so does that mean that if my game's 10 hours, it should be $10? Like, I don't know. I think that is not what should determine the price. So I'm not defending Mafia here because I don't know what the game plays like. Come to find out, I don't like the game at all. And I'm like, I fought on the podcast for this game and it's not even good. but in general, I always get a little frustrated when I see these arguments, because I'm with you, Malden. They're all over online. Like, I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I just feel like everyone's always like, oh, this game is $60 or $50. It needs to be X amount of hours. I do not understand how that computes in anyone's head, but that's just my personal opinion. So, and to be honest with you, I like short games, so I'm actually a fan of this decision. So go at me.
Well, I got to say, I know that our audience totally agrees with you, or a lot of our audience does, because we got ripped to shreds for saying that Donkey Kong wasn't worth $70 when it was announced that it was just like 20 hours or something like that. So there are definitely people that are out there that agree with you. I can't say I am one of them, though. But first, like, Lord or Molding, do you want to jump in?
I mean, I'm on the fence about this one. I think you're right. I mean, if it's going to be a 10-hour linear straight through game where you're not going to get any replayability at all, like, I do wonder if there would be some flexibility. Maybe $40 would have been the answer here. It's tough. Like, it is tough. Maybe it was the best 10 hours of my entire life, then you justify it. But it's so tough considering how expensive everything is getting these days. It's just like video games need to find that balance. And I think it's a little out of balance right now.
Molding.
It's a competitive marketplace where these various things are competing for my time and for my money. So if I purchase a game that's $70, I want to feel like I got $70 worth of value for it. Now, if it turns out that it's a 20-hour game and I absolutely love it, I'm going to say that's fantastic. I got my $70. But it's based on the game, man. I look at a game like I look at a game like Donkey Kong, and we're probably going to talk about this later. Maybe we're going to talk about it right now. But I did play a little bit of this game, and that it is not fun. That's not a fun type of gameplay for me. So in my mind, I immediately go 20 hours, $70. That's ridiculous. Who would ever play that? But I'm sure Chad absolutely loves that game, considers $70 to be a steal, maybe even for that purchase. Of course, you can say how you feel about it, but it's based on the game. I got flamed a lot for saying Baldur's Gate with its length of time was crazy. That game I played a little bit yesterday. I've put 20 days of my life into playing that game, and I would have paid more money for that because that experience was so worthwhile to me. So it is a subjective thing per person. For me, 20 hours for $50 for a 20-hour game is a no-go for me.
I totally get that, and I do agree 1,000% that it depends on the game. There are some games I would never justify buying, even for any price, I think, just because it wouldn't be my type of game, regardless of length. The one thing I do have to say about Donkey Kong, this is just a total aside, is it's not 20 or 25 hours. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you go straight through the game maybe and do nothing, like even in Mario Odyssey, if you just went straight through Mario Odyssey, Dan can agree with me because he loves that game. You could probably beat Mario Odyssey in 20 hours, probably. But every run through I've done of Mario Odyssey is like 55, 60 hours because there's so much to do that you want to do. Like Donkey Kong's the same way. It's like when I'm playing that game, it's like, yes, I guess I could go through the game really quickly if I wanted to, but it's not even designed that way. It's like there's so much to do and so many distractions to power up and stuff that it just, right now, I think I'm at 35 to 40 and I'm probably about 75% through. So anyway, that's just an aside, like of something that was like a grievance I needed to air from a last episode.
Well, just before Dan brings in, that's probably, we got to blame the reviewers then, I would say. And
that's why it's not
this game was 20 hours.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
It felt like almost an engagement thing. It's almost felt like they were like, oh, we can say this is 20, 25 hours and we know people are going to get there. Like, they're going to get annoyed.
They got me hook, line, and sinker.
And I get it.
I just ran with that. Yeah.
But that's a side topic. Sorry, I kept hearing. I was like, I have to set the record straight as someone who's in the middle of it. But yeah, when it comes to what you said, Matt, I totally agree. It depends on the game, and like to me, the original Uncharted games are my favorite games of all time. The first two, they're 12 hours, So it's like, for some reason, there's been an attitude change. It's like those games are $50-$60 and nobody cared. They won Game of the Year. Like everyone loves them to this day. But it's just like, it's weird. It's like there's been an attitude shift where now a game comes out that's 10 to 15 hours and everyone is on. I mean, it's also because everyone's on social media now and everyone has a million opinions and everyone talks about them. But I just feel like why is there an attitude shift now? It's like, those games are short. There's been short games forever that nobody complained about ever. And all of a sudden it's a big thing. So I think that's why I'm a little sensitive to it, because I've just been a fan of these games forever. And I don't know why that's a talking point nowadays, but anyway, I'll stop talking.
No, I definitely understand it. I mean, sometimes people complain about it if a game is too big and it's too bloated and it's too Ubisoft, then people get upset. And if it's too small, then people also get upset. And I think it all goes to what you guys are saying. Like, people want to feel like they're getting value for their money. And so, various games of various lengths could definitely deserve to exist. But just out of curiosity on this one, Mafia Old Country for $50, are any of you buying it?
No.
That's pretty much what I thought. But would that have changed your tune if they had said it's 30, 40, it's got open world side activities, it's really fun, it's doing all this extra new stuff? Would that change your opinion?
I would have been more open to it.
Yeah, me too. And also, I base games a lot based on reviews. And again, I'm not dissing Mafia. It's 78 or 74, whatever. It's still very good. Like, that's not bad by any means. But if that was like a 94, I'd be like, oh my God, I have to play this game. This sounds amazing. But when it's a series I'm not really that interested in anyway, I'm just kind of like, it's fine. I'll get it on GameFly. Another mention, not sponsored. I was very happy you brought that up, Dan, because I also have
to get sponsored by them for sure.
So I probably will put it in my GameFly queue. Again, how old am I? And then get it when it comes in, because I'm interested in it, but I'm enough to buy it. So yes, to your point, I will not be purchasing it. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because I don't think even if it was a long game, I would have still bought it anyway.
But I will say that, like, if it's a 10-hour game, the story has to be amazing, I think. Like,
I agree with that.
Yeah, if it's 10 hours, then the story has to be locked in, and the reviews are saying the story's not very locked in. So it's like, man, I don't know if that's really it's tough. That's tough.
I agree. Yeah, well, they definitely strayed, they didn't stray very far from the formula. They did exactly what they did in the first couple of games. And I don't know if it's going to pay off for them. So it'll be interesting to see. And it might be fun to pick up later on GameFly or used or something like that. But then moving on to other games, we've got another game that is completely breaking the mold, Silent Hill F. It's moved out of the United States to 1960s Japan. And it's also changing some of the combat. Lord, you had this story for us.
I do. So this one comes from IGN's Vicky Blake. Silent Hill F is combat heavy because challenging action games are gaining popularity among younger players nowadays. Silent Hill series producer Motoi Okamoto and Silent Hill F director Al Yang have been making the rounds just recently, and an interview has popped up at GameSpark. Okamoto discussed that whilst his aims for the remake of Silent Hill 2 were to respect the source material for F, he's interested in more entertaining and thrilling action. The Silent Hill series, this is in quotes, by the way, the Silent Hill series isn't considered a game that has entertaining action per se, But as we're opening our doors to new players, we begin to wonder what it would be like if we added more of those elements into the game, Okamoto added. And more in quotes, challenging action games are gaining popularity among younger players nowadays. So I believe if that we implemented such elements into the game, it would resonate well even with people who are new to the series. So are we being aged out of this franchise right now? Because this is like not something that's resonating with me at 35. I'm like, what is going on here? I just, it's a strange turn of events. Like, it sounds like they're going the Soulsborne route. And what do you guys think? Is this something that seems more interesting to you or kind of a misfire?
More interesting.
Oh,
I must have had a drink from the fountain of youth because I'm a young buck on this one. No, I've never been interested in the Resident Evil stuff or the Silent Hill stuff. That stuff is not fun to me. I think they're so slow and meandering, and no, they do nothing for me. So you got to speed that stuff up, and I'm much more interested.
Wow. Okay.
Chad, you seem to be reacting pretty strongly to that.
Blasphemy.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because if you didn't say it, I was going to have to say it.
Resident Evil is probably top 5 series of all time, maybe higher.
Snooze fest.
Silent Hill is you know, they haven't had as many Silent Hill games, so I can't put it on that pedestal, but Silent Hill is also amazing. And, you know, I am so stoked for this game. Yeah, it's a little weird, Lord. I'm kind of with you about like it being a little more actiony. That doesn't, when I think of Silent Hill, I do not think of that at all. Yeah. But I did read, unless I'm wrong, that like, you know, a lot of it's going to be close combat, which I think is fine. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of guns. I don't think the character's going to pick up like a machine gun, which would be, I agree, very strange.
That would be awesome.
I think they could still make this really good. I've been hearing, I know a couple people that work at Konami, and I'm not just dropping names. I'm only saying this because I've been hearing that it does sound like it's actually really good. Like there's a lot of good buzz about this game. So as of now, I'm very excited about it, and I'm really excited to see more. I totally get the hesitations too, because I have it a little bit like you. I'm kind of a Silent Hill fan too, and I'm just like, don't mess up my precious series.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just so excited for this game. So every little thing that comes out, I'm not nervous. I'm more cautiously optimistic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And speaking of Resident Evil, though, I'm curious to see, you know, where Silent Hill goes, because it is still in its adolescence in terms of, you know, the amount of games that they've had, kind of like you said, Conselmo, whereas Resident Evil has gone through many different phases, going starting from the very beginning, you know, with its survival horror, and then moving on to an action series. By the time it got to like 5 and 6, and don't get me wrong, I love the hell out of 6, but 6 isn't a horror game, it's an action game, and it's a really fun action game. It doesn't get enough credit. People should check it out one of these days, but it's not a horror game. So I'm curious to see if with all of the action, does Silent Hill become less scary, and it becomes more of an action game, or does it increase the fear that I will feel playing this game, because I know that I'm going to have to fight monsters, and they've kind of put that out there, and they've said, okay, you're going to be confronted here. You're going to have people coming after you. So I really, I'm so split on this one, because I've seen the Resident Evil series tackle both, and I've loved kind of both of what they've done. So this could still be good. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm also very interested too. One thing the original Silent Hill game did so well was, and I think it was because the technology wasn't there. It was like a limitation, but you know, they had all that fog. You couldn't see 2 feet in front of you. And I think it was because they just couldn't render all the town, but it actually worked to its advantage. So there was something special about Silent Hill that kind of gave it its like own little place on the map. And I do
But fog isn't scary now, so they're going to have to step up their game.
I agree. I'm not asking for more Turok fog. That is definitely for sure. But I definitely like think that there's something about Silent Hill that I think is almost even creepier than Resident Evil in a way. Like then that if they lose that identity, that would be kind of a bummer. So hopefully they do not. And I do worry that Resident Evil worked, Dan, I think, because there had been so many games so far. So when the action game came out, people are kind of like, oh, this is something new. But Silent Hill hasn't been around long enough, so they can't change the identity too quick because they really haven't earned that yet. So hopefully it just, you know, I'm sure it's going to be great. The remake of Silent Hill was amazing. So I'm guessing it's going to be fine. But yeah, it's an interesting choice, that's for sure.
It definitely is. And this was one of my most anticipated games of like this entire summer showcases of shows. So this was high up on the list, and don't get me wrong, I'm still very excited for this game. I'm with you, cautiously optimistic. Just because what we have seen of the combat as well, just from the little trailer snippets, hasn't been like what I would say is like up there with like a Soulsborne-ish type of like Resident, or like not Resident Evil, but just like an action-y third person game. So it'll be I would like to have it in my hands and just like get the feel for it now. Like I would love to get like a good preview of this one and just like put all my hesitations to rest.
Let me just add one thing: is we do not need more Soulsborne games.
Yeah,
We don't. We're
we're
all stacked
Yes.
up. We don't need any more. We're
Yeah.
good. So I do think it's a mistake for them to go into that direction. They should stick with the lane that they were successful in.
Yeah.
But
Like I
don't
saw
work
the word like parry thrown around a lot, and I was
Oh wow.
like, parry? No.
Yeah.
But
Does
yeah.
Silent Hill need a parry system?
I know that does
I don't know.
change things a little bit. Well, speaking of companies continuing to move in questionable territory, we've got another story about Nintendo raising their prices. Molding.
Oh, it's me again. This one comes from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Nintendo announced U.S. price increases for original Switch, warns price increases for Switch 2 games, and the NSO membership may be necessary in the future. The price increases, which are, quote, based on market conditions, Nintendo said, went into effect last weekend. Nintendo price increases announced on August 1st include the Nintendo Switch up $40 to $339.99, Nintendo Switch OLED up $50 to $399, Nintendo Switch Lite up $30 to $229. Nintendo Alarmo, which I think Chad already has, good thing he got in there early, is up
I do have
$20.
one. I love it.
I bet you do. I was guessing, and I guessed correctly. Is at $110 now, and the Joy-Con 2 controllers are $100, up $5. In a post on its website, Nintendo issued the following statement. Pricing for the original Nintendo Switch family of systems and products will change in the United States based on market conditions effective August 3rd, 2025. Pricing for the Nintendo Switch 2 system, physical and digital Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch 2 games, as well as Nintendo Switch Online memberships, will remain unchanged at this time. However, please note that price adjustments may be necessary in the future. Nintendo didn't name Trump tariffs in its statement, but analysts are pointing to them by way of explanation for these and other price increases in the video game industry. News of the Switch price hike comes just hours after Nintendo reported its financial results since the Switch 2 came out, and as expected, the company saw a significant boost to sales and profits, with the Switch 2 itself selling more than 6 million units in just 7 weeks. And just to note, I checked Amazon today, and those are the list prices, but Amazon is selling them for their original price, so that's, up to Amazon. So boys, what do you think? Have we ever seen a last-gen console actually increase in price? And do you think tariffs are to blame, or is Nintendo just seizing an opportunity?
Chad,
Oh God!
take it away.
Yeah.
This is dangerous territory, but I do have an opinion on this. Personally, I do think this is a tariff thing. I as someone who worked with Nintendo for
I gotta say bullshit on that one. No,
I don't know. Listen,
they are greedy as fuck lately. They're greedy as fuck, and I'm sick of their shit. To be honest with you, it is crazy.
Oh,
No,
cage fight.
It's completely insane. They've gone off their fucking rocker, and this pisses me off. And the fact that more people aren't outraged by their greed, it is insane that they're letting them get away with this. I hope this tanks the fucking sales of the Switch. But they probably want the same thing too, because then people would be buying the Switch too. But I think they're out of their fucking minds.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I could be totally wrong on this. I just don't know if they are.
It's okay. You can defend it. It's okay.
No, but I just don't know if they're the ones that are actually controlling this and making this decision to make these prices higher. Like,
where's it coming from, do you think, then? Because I can't believe it.
I mean, my guess, again, I could be wrong. My guess is that the production of this has gotten more expensive. So yes, they are making the prices higher, but I don't think it's because they're just like randomly like, oh, let's make the prices so high for this old console so people will buy Switch 2. I actually don't know the reasoning behind it. Like right now, they're chasing PS2. They're so close to passing PS2 as the most sold console of all time. They're so close. Like I just would make no sense. I mean, again, maybe your argument is they don't make any sense, so that's why they're doing it. But I don't know, from a perspective, a business perspective, it just what I'm thinking is happening is it's just costing a lot more to produce these things now, and they just have no choice. But I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong on this one.
I think for this one, in this case, I'm really surprised. Even if there was like an increase in cost to make this console, I'm so surprised they're not eating that cost just to like not create the stir
Yeah,
that it has.
I agree. They should have.
Yeah, because it's like it's wild to me that, and it's such an old console. And you're right, Chad. Like, why it? Especially if they're trying to chase the PS2 numbers, which is such a great point. I think they should have just kept it at the same price, and I'm sure they just keep selling like they would. Now it could be, added $40. Like it could add a little hesitancy to somebody who might not yet have the original Switch.
Molding.
Oh, where do I begin? It's I'm way more on the side of Dan, unfortunately, than I think on the side of Chad. Yeah.
He's just trying to be nice to the guest. He's just trying to be nice to the guest. It's very sweet.
I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of that, and I never like to agree with Dan on anything. And I to make okay, are those Joy-Con 2 controllers really worth $100? Do you think it?
Nope.
Like what I just would love to see the profit margin on those things. And Alarmo, what did I say Alarmo was? Was that $100 too? Yeah, like that 110 for an alarm clock is crazy. I'm so glad Chad got his before that hike came in, because that is ridiculous. Now, what I want to see is I want them to nut up and say, yes, we're doing this because of the tariffs.
Right.
Then I would be like, yeah, that makes so much sense. I totally understand. But if they're not doing that, it makes me think either they want to make sure that they're under the Trump radar, or they're not doing it because of the tariffs and they're just doing it to get a little bit of extra cheddar. And from a company that sells $40 amiibos to get or however much those amiibos cost, I don't, I wouldn't put it past them for being more on the greedy side of things.
I would say two things are true here. One is I don't think they're scared of Trump by any means, only because it's a Japanese company, and I don't think they would have any care about that at all. But the other thing I think is true is they will not say anything about that. As someone who did PR for them for 11 years, we would never, ever, ever make a statement about saying this is the reason for why we did this. They make these decisions, these things happen, and then they just hope that this is not just a Nintendo thing. This is a general PR rule.
Sure.
It's you just kind of, unless there's a specific reason for something that's very bad and you have to get it out there, usually it's just you make your decision, you move on, and then, you see how the reaction is, and then you adjust if needed. But then, I'm with you. If there was a reason for the tariff, if it was specific because of the tariffs, it'd be amazing for them to say that, but I just don't think that'll happen. So I think we're just unfortunately going to have to speculate. I think that's the only thing that's going to happen.
That's great insight.
It's kind of a bummer.
That is.
And I just think it's totally greed. I mean, look, you can't trust a company that wants $80 for Mario Kart. You just can't. That is so ridiculous. And how long have they been making these Switch consoles? They can't find a way to lower the production costs and pass that on to the consumer. It's because they're fucking greedy as shit. The hubris that this company has right now is unmatched. We talk about Sony going over the top and being too bullish and stuff like that, but I have never seen Nintendo be this greedy before in my life. They went from eating crap with the Wii U to way overconfident, and it's ridiculous and heartbreaking to see, because they used to provide so much good content, but now I can't even really get behind them when it seems like they're ripping people off. And what they're really doing though is alienating the fan base. When you've got kids that are really, the targets for these games and these movies and stuff like that, and suddenly they're not able to afford these things because the starting price is $450 for a console and $80 for a game, then you got a company that's really losing their way. So I hope they figure it out sooner rather than later.
No, well
Wow,
said.
Chad's regretting his decision.
No,
Coming on
listen,
to
I will say for the people that don't remember me from my first amazing guest appearance that people are still talking about on the streets, I will say I am probably the resident Nintendo fanboy. Dan is too, I will say, as a longtime friend of Dan. Dan loves
Thank
Nintendo
you.
games. So this is coming from a place of love.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed. It just cuts. It's like, yeah,
Right.
it's a thin line between love and hate. Like, I really love them, and then they piss me off, and I really hate them.
No, I get it. And like, I definitely will say I'm a little biased. Not only did I work for them for all those years, but I also am a lifelong Nintendo fan. I love Nintendo. So I am
Yes.
looking through like, Nintendo colored glasses. Like I'm not the best person to comment on this, but I absolutely hear your point, Dan. Like, I'm not going to leave being like, Dan doesn't know what he's talking about. I actually think you're probably right. I just, I don't think I know enough to even be able to comment, but I don't know. It just seems weird. It just seems weirdly timed. Like, it's just such a strange decision this late in the console's life cycle. So I don't know. It's hard for me to understand why they would ever make that decision, but I get
It's
it.
an unfortunate loss for everybody. And
Right.
speaking of unfortunate losses, Microsoft has canceled now another game. This one seemingly out of the nowhere because they just did their 9,000 people layoff and they canceled 2 games. But now, unfortunately, Contraband is getting the axe. And if you don't know exactly what Contraband is, that's fine. This game was shown off at 2021. So it's been a little bit of a while. But I was really looking forward to this one. So real quickly, let me tell you the story and then let's talk about it. According to Jason Schreier's recent article at Bloomberg, Xbox has finally canceled Contraband, a co-op smuggling adventure game that had been in development with Avalanche Studios for about 4 years. The game was first revealed in 2021 and was set in the 1970s, promising open-world exploration and heist-style gameplay. Avalanche, best known for Just Cause series, confirmed that active development has stopped while they, quote, evaluate the project's future, though it's unclear if it'll ever return. This cancellation is just part of a larger wave of cuts at Microsoft, which has also shelved other big titles like Everwild and Perfect Dark. Definitely a disappointing update for anyone who, like me, who had been looking forward to this game because I love Avalanche. And honestly, with Just Cause, every time that 1, 2, 3, by the time 4 came out, everyone's just saying the same thing. When are you going to make this game co-op? And Contraband looked like, as Just Cause fans, the answer to that. We were going to be able to play co-op. It was going to be heist style, like a GTA co-op thing. And it looked, well, I mean, from the teaser trailer, it looked amazing. Not that we saw much else. I'm the only one kind of like super bummed about this, or were you guys aware of this at all, or just whatever?
The game wasn't fully on my radar, to be honest. I mean, I love Just Cause types of games, and if it is co-op, like you said, I would have been all over it. Love to play with you, but it's just, I'm more shocked that we're getting more canceled Xbox games. Like, first it was Perfect Dark, which was, I think, a stunner. Like, that to me was like truly a game that I thought they were going to go through with no matter what. And now we're getting another cancel. Like, I feel like none of the games are safe right now that are in development at Xbox. So this is just a nervy time seeing this in the news today or yesterday.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the people at Bethesda who are like, if we don't make Elder Scrolls the best game in the entire world, it is going to get axed and we're all going to lose our jobs. So
And
I
it
think
better
that
be
there's
longer than 10 hours.
oh gosh, it better be. I mean, it will. It's fine. I have confidence in that one. But yeah, so I feel for a lot of these people and it sucks. I mean, what more can you say? It sucks. And what I think is driving it is Microsoft wants to get rid of as much as they can so that they can implement AI and have AI be the carry the burden of these developing games. That's my take.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't have much to add outside of that's number one, depressing. And
Yeah.
also, I just think it is a bummer. Like, this isn't really my type of game. So I'm kind of with Lord, like, I wasn't following it too closely, but it is just sad to see, like, the industry now is kind of a bummer. It's like, there's so many hardworking people in the industry that are making games and developing these incredible games and working on all different parts of games, not just developers. Like, there's so many people that go into making games. It's like a miracle that even a game happens. And it's just so... such a bummer when all this stuff keeps getting canceled or shifted or doesn't sell well. And I don't know, it's been happening a lot lately, and I still have hope. I love what I do and I love the industry, but it it makes me sad that this is happening so much. And I love your guys' show, and every week I always feel like there's one story that's like a bummer. Not your fault. You're just reporting the news. You're journalists. You guys are great, but it is a bummer. It's like I'm hoping that one day I listen to the show and it's like, guess what? Everything has turned around. Every game is back on. Every game is selling millions of copies. Nintendo dropped 50% off all of their prices. This is my dream episode, so let's put this into the universe. So, but yeah, not much to add. I totally agree with all of you. It's just a bummer.
I agree with you guys too. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I second that, Chad. I definitely want to have that episode sooner rather than later. I think big picture, this just makes me nervous. Like, what's happening at Microsoft here? They spent billions of dollars acquiring all these companies, only to turn around and fire people and start shutting down games. Did they over purchase? Is that's what's happening here? Because it's hard for me to believe that these individual games, like a first or second one, you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't where they needed to be. It wasn't hitting development goals, or oh, maybe the vision was a mess, and maybe they're having trouble with technology. But by the time they cancel the third game, you got to be a little sus when it comes to Microsoft. And I'm concerned that Molding is completely correct, that they're going all in on AI, and it's going to be AI from here on out because they just want to save more money, especially because they don't know where their future is going in terms of their console.
Yeah. They better
love to hear that. Agreeing with Malding's my favorite word.
I was going to say, how often has that been said on the show?
I know.
I feel like I'm here for a major moment. Like, clip that.
I know it's painful, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Well, AI better help me build my modular Xbox console at some point, because gosh,
and do it cheaply.
Yeah, do it. It just is crazy.
Listen, I don't know if AI could do my job. I don't even want to even say that out loud, because if it's true, then I'm in trouble. But that when I hear AI, I literally start shaking. It's like so scary, especially in the video game industry. It's just like, so hopefully, let's all knock on wood that AI is used in the correct ways.
Yes. Yeah.
I know, Mom, I'm way too positive right now. It's so annoying.
Well, speaking of opinions, good or bad, not only do we have them, but so do our listeners. And we have a special segment this week with Chad, who's gone and looked for some of our listener feedback. And we want to react to what you guys have to say to us. So, Chad, if you don't mind, take it away.
Sure. See, I thought this would be appropriate for me because I am a super fan of this show. I've listened to it every episode. I look forward to it every week. And sometimes I feel like I might be a little listener coded, where I hear an opinion on the show and I don't go into the actual comments. I haven't got there yet. I'm not brave enough, but I do under my breath say, oh, I wish I could say this to them. So I went back into the comments and found some comments that I agree with, and I wanted to shout them out and just say and kind of get your thoughts. But it also is a good way to call out some of my fellow listeners and my fellow fans who are my people. So we'll start with this one. It's from @RossMillerMediaMashup. This was from the episode from last week when you guys talked about the Nintendo Switch partner showcase. He defended it. He or she, it's Ross Miller, I'm assuming he or she said, is it good for people with Switch 2s? And a little backstory, you guys weren't the highest on that partner showcase. You were very nice to the Square Enix games, though, so thank you. I appreciate that. That was very nice.
And it's not just because we know you.
No, exactly. I actually felt that was genuine. That was really nice. That was really nice. And so were the fans. Like, people online were actually really nice to our games, too, so that was very great. It felt good. But he says, is it good for people with Switch 2s and nothing else that these ports exist? Absolutely. And then he goes on saying then, like, yes, it might not be the best for people like us who are really into games, but I wanted to call it that comment, Ross Miller Media Mashup. Thank you, because I did agree with that. What I was thinking when I was listening to this episode, when I was walking my dog, was, I think we have to put into context that there's people that have never played Cyberpunk, that will never play Cyberpunk because they only own Switch. Like, the amount of people that own Switch or Switch 2 and don't own any other consoles or don't follow games as much as us is pretty high, actually. It's millions of people. So
weird.
So I agree with this comment that I think that, there are people out there that don't get to play these third-party games. So even if they don't look as good as they might look on PC or PS5 or Xbox, for them, it's a great experience. So, highlighting these games is not a bad thing. So I understand the pushback that it's another port and it doesn't look as good, but I do think there's a huge audience for that out there. And it's good for these third parties to, be able to use Nintendo as a place to get out their games where most people would never hear of them outside of that.
That's a
So
good point.
I did play Cyberpunk. Sorry,
No,
Lord.
good.
I did play Cyberpunk at the Switch 2 experience, and it looked really great. It was docked, so I don't know what it looks like undocked, but it was docked on the television. It looked fantastic. I think my argument is putting all these out, saying that you're at the very beginning of this life cycle and not having any first party game. Well, having two first party games, two brand new games, and however many 17 other games that we've been around forever. I think that's where my personal frustration towards it came from.
That's a great point.
I mean, don't yell at me. Yell at Ross Miller. Ross
Dang it,
Miller Media
Ross.
mashup.
Yeah.
I mean, God, what
we
kind of
will.
comment is
We
that,
will.
Ross Miller?
Damn it, Ross. What is this?
Lord, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the memories are flooding back to me because I know we were dogging on Chronos and some other games that were being
Star
showcased.
Wars
That
was bad.
Star Wars, it just didn't look up to par. And yeah, you're right. That's a great point, Chad, where you just said, if these are just people who aren't going to go anywhere else in their gaming career besides getting a Switch 2, then yes, that totally makes sense. But like anyone else who might have a PlayStation 5 or a PC, it's like it's a no-brainer to then jump to the other system because you can clearly see there's going to be a discrepancy in visuals, unfortunately.
And I think that Molding always says on this show, like, more games, more people. More games for more people is a great thing. And so we definitely agree with Ross on this. I think we were just speaking amongst ourselves because we're super nerds, and we kind of assume that like people who might listen to the show are super nerds too. And so as like these uber nerds, we have to be like, hey, I saw this feature was on this console, it wasn't on this console, like, and we just kind of give the in-depth, like inside baseball take on certain things. So yes, 100% more people, more games. But for uber nerds, I don't think the Switch 2 version's for you.
I think that's actually a really good point, Dan, because you guys can't be in the market of every single topic that comes up. You talk about every single angle that possibly could be seen about this game. But I think that's why this segment is actually kind of cool, because it's a good time to shout out one of the fans who had a really good point. And it's almost kind of like let's look at the other side of things for a second. So yeah, that's a great point, Dan. But yeah, I think Ross Miller made a great point. So I was really happy about that when I saw that comment. I was like, Ross Miller, I agree with you.
Ross. No, thank you, Ross, and thank you, Chad, for bringing that up.
Yes,
absolutely.
So really quickly, I want to go to this other comment that I will say, we're not going to talk too much about me, but sorry if I'm looking down just for a second. I have to read this comment. So the most...
That's okay. We'll go to B-roll.
I'm not going to say angry because I'm never angry when I listen to your amazing show. The most stressed I've ever been was when you guys talked about Metroid Prime 4 because I am the biggest Metroid fan ever, and I'm also a huge Metroid Prime fan ever. And there's so much shade thrown at that game that I'm always like, oh my God. I'm looking at random people on the street when I'm listening, like, do you guys hear this? Like, come on. Like, so there was from an episode a few weeks back, maybe more than that, there was a comment here about your Metroid comment. So do you mind if I read that one really quick?
Please.
It's from @BrendanChamberlain9388. This Brendan guy, I like the cut of his jib. He says, mine, oh yeah, because you guys, I think, commented that the game didn't look great and it looked like, I think, quote, Malding a GameCube game. He said, you are mind rotted by photorealism. This is stylized realism and it holds up much better as time goes on. Now, first of all, I will say, Brendan, that was a little harsh. They're not mind rotted. They're very sweet people, and I love them very much.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely some mind rot on my side.
Completely agree with this. Like, to me, when I see Metroid Prime 4, the first time I saw it, I'm not just saying this, I thought it looked amazing because I was like, this is what Metroid Prime looks like. It looks a little stylized. It's not going for like super realistic graphics. It has kind of a very cool art style. I thought it looked like the best of the four. I'm so stoked to play it. So I was like Brendan, when I heard the clip of you guys talking about it, I was taken aback because I thought it was going to be like nonstop praise about how good Metroid Prime 4 looks. So anyway, I just thought this comment was great, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. In hindsight, after all the weeks that have passed, and I'm sure you've been thinking about this, staying up at night thinking about your comments about Metroid Prime 4. So what is your reflection on all this?
Presentation was an interesting presentation that they did. I don't know if it served that game in exactly the right light. I think there was some strange voiceover going on.
Mm-hmm.
I still think there was a bit of, the graphics it looked still a little dated, but it was, I think a lot of it was being chalked up to sort of the presentation was a little lacking.
Yeah, for sure.
Mulder?
Me saying that it looks like a GameCube game was a little hyperbole. I'll say it looked like a Wii game. How about that? Is that better? It
So
looked like a
much
Wii
better.
game.
Yeah.
So my issue with it is that how many years I don't know offhand how many years it's been between the last one and this
It's been
one,
a long
but
time.
it's been a long time, and I want to see a significant change between an old version of a game and a newer version of a game. And to me, looking at that, I did not see that change that I was hoping for. And not to say it again, I did get to play this game already at that LA Switch 2 experience, and I'm telling you, it is not what I got to play. It was not the most fun thing I've ever played in my life. I'd like to think that I'm pretty honest about things. I try to tell things how they are, and it was not the best thing I've ever played.
Fair.
And I'll leave it at that.
And I would kind of I'm half agree with Brendan Chamberlain's statement and then half disagree. One is, yes, I prefer photorealism, and I learned my lesson, though. I learned my lesson with Wind Waker. I bagged on Wind Waker when it first came out, and I'll be damned if that isn't still one of the best Zelda looking games today. Because of that cell shading, it is almost a timeless game.
Right.
It is gorgeous. And if it didn't have that dungeon missing, it would be one of the best ones. So I totally learned my lesson on Wind Waker. However, I gotta stand by my comment. If you go back and you look at Metroid Prime remastered for the Switch, you will see color, you will see action, you will see an exciting game. And unfortunately, I did not see any of those elements in Metroid Prime 4. What I saw was slow, purple, and uninspired. So while I want people to like this game, I got to be honest and call them like I see them. I love Metroid. This one has me sus.
Well, me and Brendan are going to take our stuff and leave to go to our Metroid fan gathering. No, that's fair. And this is one of those games, too, where it's like, I don't want to eat crow. I don't want to be here, like, praising this game that we've seen very little of, and then turns out that it ends up not being nearly as good as the other three, and then I'm like, oh god, why did I fight for this? This actually did turn out bad. So it could totally be that situation, but I just hear what Brendan's saying, because like for me, it's like it looked like a Metroid Prime game, which is what I want. And I think to your argument, Matt Maldi, about all the time that's passed and it hasn't evolved that much, I think our argument, again, I'm talking like Brendan, I'm BFF with Brendan. It's probably like, who is this jabroni talking about me? But me and Brendan's argument would be, it does look like a huge evolution to me from Metroid Prime 3. I personally, but again, that's just, tastes differ. So I totally get it.
For sure.
Yes, this is so interesting to me, and I totally hear where you're coming from. But I thought that was a cool comment from Brendan. A little harsh, but nice. But the context is there, and I appreciated it.
I appreciate the passion. I love
the brain rot. You can't go wrong with a little brain rot thrown in your comments.
I love our own little brain rot. Listen, I'm brain rotted for my love of Nintendo, so we're all brain rotted.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps everything we have this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell 227 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, our special guest, Chad Conselmo, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us as always. Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.